Hi, mate. So, I put everything together for you. All right. I'm just going to quickly run through it now. So, obviously, based off what we talked about the other day, we said that we just wanted to kind of, focus on the nutrition and then, kind of gradually introduce exercise and little bits like that going forward. So, I've got three different documents for you to have a look at. So the first one is the kind of the training program, I suppose, that we're going to focus on. Okay, this is just a little bit on kind of what to do with the sessions in the gym. Okay, so just have a look at that at your own pace. Then what I've done here is a bit of an example breakdown of how a week might look. So as I've said in the paragraph there, obviously this day might be different in regards to when you play badminton, but what I did it for is to kind of show that we want, at least one day off between the badminton and then, if you go to the gym, just to give you a bit of rest and recover and things. So then, you're ready then for both of them, and you've got plenty of energy. All right, so just starting off with like a bit of this kind of pattern first, and then, as I said at the end, slowly over time, then we might add one or two more things to it, depending on how you're finding things. All right. So further down, we've got a few different kind of pointers in terms of kind of like warm up techniques that I like to use, just to get everything feeling right before you kind of do anything in the gym using different muscles. It's not your standard stretching, it's a little bit different to that just because it tends to be more effective than your static stretching. Okay, so just have a little look at that as well. And then this is a session that I put together for you. So pretty much it's a full body session because if we're only going to be going in once per week, then it'll be a good idea to try and kind of work the whole body just so we kind of get the most out of the session. Okay. So I've broken it down. So you start with a couple of upper body movements, then move on to some lower body stuff, then back to the upper body with your shoulders, a little metabolic work, putting those two exercises together as a superset, and then going back to the lower body after that with some body weight things using squats and some bridging. Okay. And then finishing off with a bit of core work, doing a plank. All right. So as you can see in what's going on here. Oh, what have I done here? There you go. So in each column as well, you've got your reps, your sets, the tempo that I want you to try and kind of stick to in regards to how fast to do each repetition. Okay, but just try and kind of stick to it as best you can. Then your rest period in between each exercise and like a few notes as well in terms of kind of how best to kind of set yourself up for each exercise. All right, so that's the kind of the program as such. Okay, then going over into the other documents. So here we've got your check-in sheet. Okay, so we've got a check-in sheet for each week, and each one has got different columns for each day of the week, as you can see. Okay, so the things that we're going to kind of be monitoring are, general kind of markers like your energy, your stress, your motivation, just to kind of make sure that all those things are on point, I suppose, and nothing's kind of taking a massive dip or spike in some cases like the stress. And then we're looking at sleep as well, because obviously we want to aim to be getting about 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Definitely no less than 6, but ideally at least 7. Okay, then kind of just rating the quality out of 10 again in terms of how you feel like you slept, because even though you can track your sleep with your watch or whatever you got, the quality that gives you is not always comparable to how you feel. So it's best to just go off how you feel when you wake up in the morning. Then nutrition, obviously kind of seeing how well you stick into the nutrition that I'll go over in a second, and then obviously kind of seeing how your hunger levels are doing throughout the week, and kind of comparing it to what you've been doing or how well you've been sticking to your nutrition as well. Okay, and then just this other box here now is obviously just for your training sessions. So just kind of for your badminton and then your gym session, just kind of whatever day you do it, just put out of 10 how you feel like it went. Kind of with the gym session, how do you feel like you did with things? Obviously, the first it'll be hard to kind of give it an accurate rating, but just do your best. And then obviously, kind of with the DOMs that you feel afterwards, the days afterwards, just give that a bit of a rating as well. Hopefully, it won't be too high, but you might feel a bit achy after the first couple of sessions, as you'd expect. All right. Then obviously steps we'll be monitoring throughout the week, making sure that you're getting up to the target that I've set now. And then cardio, don't worry about that. Okay. If you've got anything like your watch that tracks your rest and heart rate, then just pop it in there, just so we have an idea of how your heart rate's doing now and what we might like to try and get it down to as well, because heart rate is obviously a massive indicator for recovery and all those other types of things as well. All right, so that's the check-in sheet, and you've got a little bit of a notes box down the bottom there if you want to pop anything in as well. Okay, so the last thing to look at then is your kind of your macro tracker, which has got a couple of different sections to it. So these are your macros for each day of the week. Okay, so we got 200 grams of protein, 248 grams of carbs, and 50 grams of fat, with about 25 grams of fiber. So 25 to 30 grams of fiber would be a very good amount to try and stick to. Okay, obviously, we talked about, you're not a massive fan of fruit and things like that, but just try your best to try and get, obviously other things like, your cereals, your oats and things like that. They also have quite a lot of fiber in them as well. So just, start tracking it to begin with, and then, over the first week or two, see how you get on and what amount of fiber on average and other things you're consuming day to day. And then we can maybe try and kind of see what else we need to do to try and kind of bring a bit more in. All right. But the overall calories that you'll be on is 2,282. So I worked that out as a bit of a deficit compared to what your maintenance calorie target would be. So that hopefully should start to then aid you in burning obviously more calories than you're consuming, hence the weight loss. All right, so we'll start with that, see how it goes. If your hunger levels are very, very high and the weight seems to be coming off fairly well, then we can obviously pop it back up at a certain point. All right, and then the last couple of sections are just a bit of a supplement table here of what I would say would be your staple go-to supplements if you want to take any. Obviously, the whey protein is more kind of exercise based and convenient protein if you're struggling to get enough in. And then your multivitamin, fish oil, and vitamin D are kind of your staple health supplements that I would probably suggest taking regardless of whether you're undertaking any particular exercise or not really. All right, so that would be my issue. And then on the table across from that, we've just got some health variables that we want to keep track of, as you saw on the check-in sheet. So obviously water intake, keeping that fairly high, although I think I remember you writing that you normally consume quite a lot of water anyway, so that's good. Your rest and heart rate, we want it to be around there, but like I said, the first week or two, we'll see kind of where it's at, and then kind of see whether it's in the right place or whether we need to bring it down slightly. Obviously, sleep 7 to 9 hours, and then your steps, I want you to try and hit about 7 to 8,000 a day. So not quite 10,000 yet, but obviously compared to the 5,000 or so that you say you do per day now, we want to bring that up a little bit, okay, from what you're saying you did, okay. But hopefully that's not too big a jump, and that's something that we can manage fairly well, okay. Then the last bit is your weight tracker, okay. So don't worry about these sections here, okay, the carbs, proteins, fats, calories. That's just for me to kind of put in the data for whatever calories and things you're on, just for an easy comparison of um, the weight and how it's doing. Okay, so all I want you to do is put the date in the left hand column, and then your weight per day, and then it will give you an average, obviously in the bottom box, so we can have a nice easy overview of how things are doing with the weight. All right, so that's all the documents that I've shared with you now on Google Drive. All right, so if you should sign into your Gmail and go on your Google Drive, they should be there waiting for you. Okay, so hopefully that's all okay. And we can hopefully get started now next week, and then see how things go. All right, so if you have any other problems or any questions about what I've just gone through, then obviously just shoot me a message, and we can discuss it and try and sort it out. All right, but in the meantime, I'll speak to you soon. All right.